Well, a very pleasant good morning to all our members and our colleagues and friends. Welcome to this month's Members Information Session. I'm Lynette Holder, Chief Executive Officer of the Small Business Association of Barbados, and it is my pleasure to host this month's webinar. And for those who may be new to this process, let me share with you that every month the SBA organizes a webinar focused on a topic of interest to the small business sector, to business development overall. And we seek to partner with our industry partners so that they can bring information on various products, various services that they have on offer for the sector. We can also engage with our legislators, our regulators on issues that affect the policy framework for which our small business community must operate in. And so this month, we want to continue this focus, continue this theme as we look at a very important topic today, exploring new digital solutions for e-commerce, closing the gap for small businesses. Now, many of you will recall that we have had many conversations in the past about the technology, the new paradigm shift, the game changer, as it were, relative to digitalization, and the need to ensure that our small business community can continue to do business and do business in this digital space. However, we have heard from you that the issue of e-commerce continue to plague our business community. We felt it was important for us to address this again in our webinar series. Now, don't fear if you miss any aspect of the program today. You can revert to our YouTube channel. You can visit our website as our session is being recorded and will be available for your viewing in the future. Also, our program is currently live streamed. You can let a friend know, you can let a colleague know that they can also catch us on our Facebook platform. So again, welcome to this month's webinar. At the end of the exercise, we'll ask you to please spend maybe another 3 to 5 minutes with us and complete our very short evaluation survey. It helps us to collect information on our program so that we can improve as we proceed in this series. It is my pleasure, members of the association and colleagues all, to have with us the team from RBC Royal Bank. Now, you will remember that last Small Business Week, RBC came on as a key sponsor, gold sponsor at the time, and they had the opportunity to share with you information on their new suite of programs and product offerings for the MSME sector. And we thought that it was important for us to bring them again to discuss the new digital product offerings that are available for our small business community. We have with us today the chief, I call him, he is the chief functionary of the RBC brand, not only in Barbados, but the Eastern Caribbean. Mr. McIntosh, he's the Managing Director and Area Vice President, Business Banking of the RBC Royal Bank Barbados Limited branch. He is currently serving for over 17 years, and he has a wide experience in commercial and corporate banking at a number of levels. He's worked in Trinidad and Tobago as well as Barbados, and he assumed the role of managing director back in August of 2022. He also partners with another business support organization, being a council member of the local chamber of commerce and industry. He's a graduate of the University of the West Indies, Cape Hill campus with BSc in economics and management. So he's going to share with us momentarily. And we also have another member of his team who is going to help us distill this topic today of understanding digital solutions for e-commerce. And this is Adrian Payne. Now, Adrian is currently the business electronics sales specialist with the bank. His career spans across multiple facets of banking, including retail banking, service delivery, and business banking. And he spent the last 6 years um, in the organization, working with businesses and helping them to scale by introducing a number of tailored digital payment solutions to drive sales, particularly in small firms. So we're very pleased to have this RBC team with us today as we engage you, our members, in this critical topic. So remember, after the presentation, we'll have a question and answer segment. So throughout, I'm going to ask you please to jot down your notes, jot down your thoughts, your questions, your queries. We are going to use our chat platform. As you know, we are on the Zoom platform, a very popular addition to our e-communications apparatus. And we're asking you to jot your notes down, jot your thoughts down. We'll revert to the chat feature at the end of the presentation for this Q&A segment. So without any further ado, I've given a long intro this morning, and you know you want for me to, stick a pin so we can get to our presentation. So let me do that and invite, at this point in time, Mr. Shimon McIntosh to share with us as we look at this topic today in our May webinar, Exploring New Digital Solutions for E-Commerce, Closing the Gap for Small Businesses. So welcome, Mr. McIntosh, to the SBA Forum, and over to you as we commence our presentation this morning.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fuller. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, on behalf of
All right, just check the audio. We want to make sure that we can hear you. We're not hearing at this point. Just double check the audio. There you go. You're unmuted now.
Sorry, yes, technology being what it is, I had a little blip in the connectivity. So I was just saying, thank you very much, Dr. Holder, for that warm introduction. And ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Firstly, on behalf of RBC, I'd like to thank the Small Business Association for inviting us to be a part of today's webinar. It continues to be our pleasure to support the SBA and work with its members. As you said, my name is Shimon McIntosh, and I'm joined by two colleagues, Adrian Payne, who will be doing a presentation shortly after my brief remarks, and Jervin Abbott, who's actually in the room with me, just in case Adrian has any technology issues. So he'll be sharing the presentation on how e-commerce and RBC can provide solutions to suit your growing business needs. Then we will open up to some questions and answers. RBC is proud to work with small business owners because we have the expertise, experience, and knowledge to help entrepreneurs bring efficiencies to their business. We recognize that the success of small businesses is critical for the growth and sustainability of the country. Small and micro firms employ between 2 and 25 people and contribute to more than 25%, more than 50% of the employment in the country. Caribbean history is laden with stories of simple salesmen who plied their trade, beating the pavements in person to secure sales. Whether it was on foot, on bike, or by vehicle, they brought business to the client. Fast forward through industry growth, commercialization, complex trade networks, and globalization, it has become more about bringing the client to the business, meeting them where they are. Over the past decade, e-commerce has grown rapidly, fueled by advances in technology and changing consumer behaviors. And of course, we know what happened. There was COVID. And the COVID-19 pandemic Businesses had to innovate and pivot during this period, and the pandemic created a once-in-a-generation shift in selling behavior. Online stores allowed businesses to interact and connect with customers despite lockdowns or restrictions, and provided an avenue to earn revenue. And since then, the focus on e-commerce continues to increase. E-commerce is now a must for small businesses in this digital age if you want to grow and survive. It's not just about making sales online, it's also about remaining relevant in a world where customers demand convenience and instant accessibility. So exactly what is e-commerce and what can I do for your business? Simply put, it's the bridge between pounding the pavement to get to the client and the client doing the same to get to you. It's the opportunity to take a business, a Barbados business, globally. E-commerce, short for electronic commerce, refers to the buying and selling of goods and services or the transmitting of funds or data over an electronic network, primarily the internet. RBC's safe and secure e-commerce solutions provides your business with the ability to accept payment from your customers online with or without a website, with the payment deposited directly into your RBC account. E-commerce eliminates geographical barriers, allowing businesses and consumers to connect seamlessly across the digital landscape, allows them to operate without the need for physical space, be cost efficient, offer 24/7 availability, and pursue insights driven by data. This can set the stage for improved customer retention and offers effective strategies to enhance customer allegiance. And these include, but are not limited to, personalized communication, loyalty programs, email, SMS marketing, and social media presence. I'm sure many of you can identify with the fact that there's merits in building loyalty with existing clients while simultaneously attracting new ones. And with strategies like these, companies can foster lasting relationships and drive sustainable growth. Growth then opens the door to offer clients even more value and creates opportunity to scale your business. The business landscape continues to evolve. Business giants that existed just a few years ago are now no more, whilst mom-and-pop operations have worldwide reach. Times have changed, but one thing remains: businesses must continue to adapt to remain competitive. According to Statista, global e-commerce sales were projected to reach US 6.5 trillion by 2023, up from US 3.5 trillion in 2029, again showing the shift towards e-commerce. Another study estimated that by 2040, 95% of purchases will be made online. So now is the right time for retailers to face e-commerce challenges and opportunities. With customers increasingly relying on online shopping, e-commerce is opening doors of opportunity to many entrepreneurs. So in summary, the benefits of e-commerce are endless. So as we go into Adrian's presentation, I ask you to ponder, can we afford not to do e-commerce? So with that said, and my brief remarks, I will turn over to my colleague, Adrian Payne, who will take you through our presentation today. So Adrian, over to you.
Thank you very much, Shimon. Just want to make sure that my audio is coming through okay.
Yeah, audio is fine, but video is not. So
yes,
we can hear you, but
yes, please. My apologies. I'm having some challenges with the video for some reason. So I'm gonna have to proceed with the presentation as best as I can without the camera. I just also want to know I can have the sharing rights because I do have a presentation up as well. I'm not sure if you're seeing the screen.
We can, Adrian.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Holder and team. It is indeed a privilege to speak at this forum. Thank you very much for extending the invitation on a very, very important subject matter. As you mentioned earlier, Dr. Holder, I've had the privilege of working in the banking sector for nearly 20 years, 6 of those years being with the business electronic sales team. It's a truly exciting time to be had in the field, and we, on a day-to-day basis, the team members and myself, we are very excited to bring how we can leverage digital tools to expand the reach and enhance our operations for the small businesses, large, medium, whatever entity within the country. So today's topic, as mentioned before, would have been on closing the gap. And my main focus of this presentation would be what measures could be taken so that we can help you as small business owners really hone in and close the gap. So to begin, I just wanted to bring a brief summary of how e-commerce would have formed over the years, to really get a gauge of where we're at and how we got to this stage. Okay, second, here we go.
Can't hear it. It's fucking useless. I can't see fucking anything. This is so fucking useless. First he says this can't see. Then
Okay, guys. I realize that the video presentation, some persons aren't able to view. So I do apologize for the video not being seen to everyone. However, the presentation with the video would have taken you through, even from the 1970s, how e-commerce would have originated from CompuServe, how it then migrated into the Amazon and eBay setups. It took you from that, how merchants like Alibaba and other merchants came on board, ready to establish themselves as players within the e-commerce market as well. It also spoke to then persons, individual businesses, and governments and what's not being able to take advantage of the wave of e-commerce hitting the world at that time, and how it would have then evolved even into players like Shopify and other content management systems being able to offer persons, small businesses, individuals who want to be able to go on the global market, the opportunity to use their setups, just signing up, creating the website, doing what they need to do to come on board for e-commerce. And the video would have then closed off with some information pertaining to COVID-19 and the strategic role that COVID would have played during that time in terms of how e-commerce managed to transform businesses and to ensure that business continuity remained. And then we also went into some of the new things coming into the e-commerce fold with cryptocurrencies and wallets and what's not, just to bring everything into focus. So with that being said, we would have continued this discussion coming off of the impact of COVID. And I know that most of you would have been, it's still very cognizant in mind, even from a consumer perspective, how things were during the COVID period. And of course, those of you who were established in business already, you would have also been able to see directly the impact that you had to undergo to maintain business continuity. So I would just say that during that period, RBC would have also been one benefited from the uptick and the heightened interest in e-commerce options at the time. And we would have seen a rate of that interest continue even to this day. And I would dare say that this is what we're having such forums to discuss to culminate this interest. And more importantly, just to give you guys an idea or to break down or demystify some of those barriers to entry. So with that being said, I'll just speak on the slide at hand. And we're talking about barriers for e-commerce implementation for small businesses. Whether these barriers are perceived or real, we just want to touch on some of them to give you guys some oversight. So a small business may consider limited resources a barrier. Whether it's the resources in terms of capital to invest in the infrastructure, or if there's limited resources to hire staff relevant to the business, any area of the business, especially on the IT side or whatever support they would need. So another barrier would be technical complexity. So obviously there's a technical aspect, especially if you go down the route of setting up a website to funnel your e-commerce. And it can be a bit daunting, the approach and what is required for businesses to come on board with the website-based e-commerce. You may have to hire a web developer. You may have hire some other persons with the expertise to get you started, and this may constitute a barrier. You also have integration challenges. Depending on the nature of the business, you might want to have the online store interact with your inventory management system and your point of sale system or whatever the case is. So this is something that you also consider that may sway persons away. There is a cost, as we've been outlining, for e-commerce. Some costs are maybe perceived to be higher than others, and we're going to speak on some more affordable solutions that can get you guys started in a few minutes. There's also data security. We know that with online businesses, anything that goes online, there is the risk for data breaches and attacks, and that is a realistic barrier that sometimes would prevent persons from going further. Competition with larger retailers. Is my business, can I scale my business enough to invest in e-commerce options when we have larger players in the market doing the same? And then lastly on the slide, we have access to support and training. This kind of alignment with the earlier comments regarding the technology and the expertise and having the relevant persons working with the business to get things going. So the real question would be, with so many barriers or apparent barriers to e-commerce, how would we begin? How would we even begin to close this gap? So the key lies with mainly understanding what is available to small businesses especially, and how small businesses can leverage these tools to compete and how they can remain relevant in the environment. So first off, we'll speak on affordable solutions. So we do have a number of solutions that will be playable to any stage of the business. We do have some more advanced solutions for those of you who would need more integrated experience, but we also have some very, very basic solutions that are easy to use and affordable. And I'll speak on some of those as we go on. Now, actually, as we speak, before we move on from the affordable solutions, I would just like to bring home the point as a reality check for most of you guys. Some of the things may not always resonate. If you guys may recall, over the last year or so, There were a number of initiatives from government agencies and other small business groups, whereby there were initiatives to take Barbados, the small businesses overseas. And they had a number of pop-ups to this extent. And during these pop-ups, we did have a number of conversations with clients, and we were able to kind of, as I say, close the gap, even to ensure that those clients, when they travel overseas, would be able to capture sales while they're in a different jurisdiction across border. So we do have this as a practical option for you guys, whether you're doing the pop-ups, you're part of these initiatives where you go overseas or not. We have some solutions that we'll touch on briefly. So next would be support and guidance. Now, RBCR technology partners are tasked to ensure continuous support and help desk access to assist in ensuring that we can partner with you at every step of the digital journey. We do have solutions, for example, at any time in the day you have a question, you can go on to, there's a chatbot option. You can chat with someone live. They can give you real-time feedback and assistance. We have solutions where you email the help desk for any of the support services we have, and they have persons that can even respond to you within an hour or two. So we do leverage and take very seriously the gap and the support needed to maintain an e-commerce presence, and therefore we've partnered with technology partners who also have a very high track record in resolving and helping with these issues. So support and guidance. All right. So support and guidance. Okay, we now covered that. My apologies. Security and trust. So obviously, as we said earlier, e-commerce is online. So anything that it goes online, there's an element of risk. So as we address this element of risk, I just want to assure you that RBC is PCI compliant. And for those of you who may not be familiar, PCI is payment card industry, and we've taken it very seriously to make sure that all our systems are PCI compliant, as well as our partners. No credit card information is stored with our gateway providers. RBC does not store any credit card information as well. So you're rest assured that you are safe. Now, on the security side, I know that web attacks and everything is something that you'll be concerned about. Our gateways also have very stringent fraud detection and things that can really bridge that gap with the web attacks and attacks to the website for credit cards and what's not. But we also have a very robust supporting system on the bank end, and we do have a monitoring team that really is tasked to just check and make sure that everything is okay on your setup. And if anything is remiss or appears to be remiss, that team will reach out very quickly, roughly within a 24-hour period, to get clarification for you. So education and training will be the last point, and this is extremely important. I know earlier we spoke on demystifying how to get started with e-commerce. And a lot of this would be lack of information, lack of understanding of what is on offer. So we do have, including myself and the team, we do have very experienced sales officers who would take you through all that is required to make sure that what options we do have that suit your interests, that you fully understand, and that you're fully in a position to take advantage of. So with that being said, I'll just pivot to touch on some of the access that we will be provided with RBC as it relates to e-commerce. So essentially, I'll just break it down, beginning with website-based e-commerce. And what I mean by this would be the ability to, let's say you have a store, you have cosmetic products, or you have any type of retail product in the store, and you want to have the ability to have persons to come online, select what they need to select, and basically be able to check out automatically without necessarily any input from you or your staff. So essentially, this would be like, obviously, what comes to mind easily may be Amazon. You know, they can go on Amazon anytime. You can select products, check out, and pay. So we do also offer this solution to help you guys to automate your business practices. And I'd just like to mention that this does not only apply to retail or product sales, but we also have this solution that you can use once you have the supporting mechanisms. You can use this also for service-based driven businesses. So for example, we have companies in, let's say, in the car rental sector who are able to automate services by allowing the persons to go on, select the vehicle type, make, model, the length of time they want to register the vehicle for, and right away they can pay. You don't have to call the next business day, call the office, ask a question. You can go on your comfort, your computer, anytime of the day, and make a payment, and the business is happier as well. So next, we do have other solutions. As I mentioned earlier, we're always looking to update our product offering so that we capture the needs of the market, which would include small, medium, and large businesses. So we do have solutions which would not require a website, and it is something that any business at any stage of their growth will be able to adopt easily. So I'll just make a note to say, just for clarification and illustration purposes, let's take, for example, a very popular platform worldwide like PayPal. So PayPal is a very popular platform, and a lot of clients would, would say that, hey, do in this jurisdiction, is PayPal an option? Can we use PayPal? Or even those who may be able to use PayPal, we know that there are limitations in terms of the turnover time to get your money applied. So we get cash flow issues, unfortunately, and just even ease of business in terms of having access to your payment. So what I would say, and if you're not aware, for example, we at RBC have solutions in place where, similar to PayPal, you may not need a website. You can send a payment request to the client as a link. You can send the payment request to the client as an invoice. You can set up buttons on your Instagram or Facebook page. You can, if you are services and you speak a lot to your clients via WhatsApp, no problem. You don't need to set up a website. You can just go on your same social media handle. Hey, tell the client X, hey, I'm sending you a link for payment. Please pay at your convenience. And you, the business owner, will know automatically when that payment is made, and you'll be able to track your sales and do reconciliation. So we also have options that cater to that, whether it's service, small or large business. You don't necessarily have to have a website. As I mentioned earlier, if you do have a website and you want to be able to automate your sales, that is fine. If you do not have a website or you can't invest in a website, we have other options that, as we can see here on the screen, to set the payment for the website. You can send payment links and what's not. Now, this other solution as well, even though it may not be web-based, just want to also reiterate, is secure, as with our other solutions, is secure, and it is very easy to get access to. There's no real technology requirement. Anyone at any stage, once you can use a mobile device or a computer, you can really get on board and use this platform. Second. So with that being said, in brief, speaking about the barriers and what options are there, whether you're a big or small business, whether you need a website, whether you just want to start up anywhere, how would you be able to get started? So even before I go into the more banking side of things, I would just like to touch on the fact that it is very important to register your business. I know that sounds simple. Perhaps all of you or 99% of you have already been a part of the association, or in case you're just joining the call as a guest seeing it on social media. I would encourage you to, at the earliest stage when you determine what you want to do, where direction you want to focus your business on, I would encourage you strongly to register your business. Oftentimes, situations may come up where you may have an opportunity that you may not have registered that business. And as a result of not registering the business, you can transition to the next stage, which would be to establish the business account and ultimately get merchant services. So in registering your business as well, I would like to encourage you to narrow your focus to some degree as a small business as your core function. There are times where we have persons coming to us, they may have original intention of what they wanted to do with the business. Things changed and they are looking to do something completely different. Now, we understand you have to be flexible, but I would encourage you that once you've identified your main focus on what you're passionate on, just ensure that your business is registered as an alignment with that particular scope. And obviously, the other benefits of registering your business, things like having access to capital, easy access to capital, tracking your finances, all of these things are very much important as it relates to registration. Now, having registered your business and you're ready for the opportunity that may arise at any given time, the next step will be to establish an RBC business account. Now, because RBC really takes the merchant service and e-commerce and digital solutions very seriously, I would emphasize on registering the RBC account because you're going to want to be in best position at any given time to be able to start your e-commerce activity. And once you have the business account there registered and ready to go, we do have a very quick turnover time to get you onboarded. Now, in terms of registering the business account, things that you would need would be things like basic stuff, the certificate of registration from KIPO. If you're an incorporated entity, you will need the full incorporation documents, basically 2 forms of picture ID, proof of address, and basically any financial information you have on the company. If it is a new business, you will need projections, but we can assist you in terms of providing let's say a document that could assist with your compilation of your projections if needed. If you're existing, you at least need 1 year, let's say like an income statement, another bank statement, just to see some of the financial activity on the business to that point. So next will be the product and business discussion. So essentially, of course, this will be very critical because if you're taking the e-commerce solutions, we need to make sure that we match the appropriate solution for your business. So having this discussion with us, as I outlined earlier, we are extremely experienced in this area. We've had many years to build upon across so many different sectors. And any model of business that you need assistance with, our sales representatives are very skilled at tasks to make sure that we help you to select the appropriate option and get you going as quickly, as easily, as most cost effectively as possible. So that leads me into the last point on the slide, which will be merchant onboarding. So this kind of ties in the whole package from the earlier points as well, because critical to getting things going, whether it's timing that you're looking at, or even if it's just the experience to get on board, would be the onboarding process. I would dare say to you quite honestly that RBC has the fastest onboarding procedures within the market. I can say that to you. And this has been evidenced in dozens, maybe hundreds of discussions with clients and the experience that they have when they come to RBC, as I say, as we demystify the barriers for e-commerce. So on average, once everything is in place, like business account and maybe some other criteria, depending on the complexity of the e-commerce setup, basically can be onboarded roughly within a week for e-commerce. And I'd just like to put a pin and also to speak on our other services at this real briefly, because you may not be in a position where the business demands e-commerce right away, but you may also want to be able to take payment directly from your customer on site. So the onboarding process for that is even faster. In 2 to 3 days, we can get you the adequate terminal or terminals that require. We have a wide variety of terminals, and we do have an exclusive device in the market called RBC Easy Pay, which is very, very popular amongst, especially among small businesses who want to be mobile or who have an outdoor setup like a pop-up or a food truck or whatever the case is. So I just wanted to mention that the full onboarding experience is one that is very effective, timely, and efficient. And within 3 days or so, you can get your terminal. Within roughly a week or so, you can get onboarded for e-commerce. So that essentially brings me to the end of this brief presentation. I just wanted to, well, you already know Shimon. Shimon would have spoken at the beginning of the presentation. You see myself there. Again, I do apologize for this glitch. The camera was working yesterday. I'm not sure what happened. My apologies. So you can see who I am. We also have my colleague who also is a business electronic sales specialist, German, Abba. And we make the main sales team for the electronic department within RBC.
All right, thank you very much for the presentation.
So just over to the SBA team.
Colleagues,
Right.
you've heard from Adrian Payne, who gave us a presentation on the digital solution, the digital platform offered by RBC Royal Bank. I'm going to ask you now to get your questions and your comments together. I've already seen someone posting in the chat, so I'll get to that momentarily. For the next 15 minutes, colleagues, we want to engage you in our Q&A. As you know, this is a very important topic. This is a topic that many of our members have had concerns about for some time. The fact is, we have to get online. We have to adopt, a method of ensuring that we can do business online, that we can trade our goods and services, using the technology that's available, because this is the digital age. So it's all about what are the efficient and cost-effective measures and product offerings out there that we can possibly consider. So I want you to get your questions together while Adrian closes the screen, so we can engage each other. Let us at this time pause for 30 seconds to hear from two of our members, and then we'll get to the Q&A segment. So let's hear from our members at this time.
Perfect. Oh my God.
Isn't it great?
Chris.
I know, it's my dream.
I have goosebumps everywhere. This is out of this world.
Peter Pan, Peter Pan, Peter Pan, just for you and Peter Pan. Peter Pan, Peter Pan, Peter Pan, enjoy life and Peter Pan. Everything delicious just for you. Peter salad, you must try this soup. Pastas, platters, Korean wings. Peter Pan for your favorite things. Located Material Things Complex, Worthing, Christchurch. Call 228-2300 or 230-5880 for deliveries or to order. Peter Pan Grill, a great delight, a bit of love in every bite.
All right, so that's Free Spirit and Peter Pan. We'll play those two ads for you again at the end of the session. So you get to jot down the contact information if you want to reach Free Spirit and Peter Pan, two members sharing their products there with you. We'll share with you at the end of the session. Let's get to our Q&A. At this time, we have the chat segment on our Zoom platform. We're asking you to pose your questions there, and we'll engage our team. I'm seeing already that Jimmy is commenting on the various pros that he heard, relative to e-commerce, but wants to know what are some of the cons. You talk about pros, but what are the cons, and issues, relative to cost and so on. So I'm sure that we'll get an update on the call. But what I took note of, Jimmy, in the presentation is that unlike PayPal, I mean, there's some members who use PayPal. Here we have a product, Fidaro, I think that's the name of it, that you don't need to use a website, any platform that you have. You can use your mobile device, you can use even your social media platforms to be able to access this particular mechanism. And I understand it's, very, very user friendly, especially for small firms. And you don't have to be tech savvy, but as long as you have social media platforms, mobile device, tablet, etc., you can access this particular mechanism to trade online. You don't need a website. So I'm sure that one of the team members can tell us a little bit more about that as we go on. But let's hear Crystal. We'll come back, Jimmy, to hear some of the cons. I'll ask Shimon and his team to tell us, about maybe some of the cons, some of the what you call the cons, some of the issues relative to expenses and so on. But let's get to Kristen. How easy it is to have a U.S. account established to receive U.S. payments electronically. Who's going to take that question for us from the team?
I'm going to Dr. Fuller. And so it's very easy to open a U.S. account. Remember, the central bank would have relaxed the exchange control provisions to allow Barbadian businesses to open USD accounts. So the same documentation that we use to open a BVD account, we use to open a USD account. So if you're targeting overseas markets and you want to open a USD account, that's not a problem. We can facilitate that, subject to the same criteria, getting your company registration documents, your KYC information, and so on. But it's easy.
Yeah. So if you can turn your attention, Shimon, I appreciate it, to the chat, and you see the questions there. And Jimmy, we're going to play that free spirit ad for you in another few moments so that you can get the number. I know it went by quickly, and we appreciate you placing your query there in the chat. So we play that again at the end of the session, that you get that number for free spirit. So if the team can possibly assist us with the questions here, we have a number of them in the chat.
No problem, Dr. Well, I'll go with the other one, which tends to be cost. And, it depends on, as you say, we have different solutions to meet the needs and size of your business. So if you are concerned with cost, but you have an active social media profile, then our e-commerce invoicing solution will be perfect for you, because the costs are cheaper than a full-blown, what I'll call full-blown e-commerce option. And as you mentioned, you spoke to this, you seem familiar with it. You can WhatsApp somebody a pay link. It takes them to the secure site. They can put in their card information, and you can trap those payments in USD as well. If you open a US account, any payment is coming from overseas. So I think there's a preconceived notion about costs being overly prohibitive. But again, it depends on the solution that you're going to. There is a cost for doing business for us as well. So it can't be a free service. We have to charge for the service. But when you think about the market that's going to expand and the reach that you're going to get, especially with some of the other solutions that we have, it does make sense to pursue this. Everybody's online, everybody's on social media, everybody's shopping on websites. So you really need to get there. There's a proliferation of e-commerce stores. So for a business, what does that mean? Increased competition. So from your side, you also need to think about, well, what is your value prop? How do you market to your clients and so on? Adrian had mentioned before there's a privacy, but we don't keep any information at RBC. That information will filter to you in terms of who's buying, what they're buying, and that information is through the various platforms. So, the more you think about it in this age, it really just opens up your markets and not just Barbados. Adrian?
Yes, thank you, Shimon. So following on from that, I will probably just looking at the chat, I'll try to answer one of the earlier questions pertaining to any disadvantages with e-commerce. So quite honestly, I can't think of any, to be quite honest. Whether it's e-commerce or merchant services with the card machines, the idea is to help transform the business so you can make money faster and how you can scale the business. Now, cost, as Shimon would have mentioned, is always a factor. So even for the invoicing options that we have, let's say you started a couple months and something happened, and you're not able to sustain the cost, the maintenance cost per se for that particular e-commerce option. You do have the ability to cancel that subscription temporarily, and you can resume services. Let's say when you're back on your feet and the business is back up and running effectively, you can resume your services. But of course, having the e-commerce option really would be to expand the business and to grow sales. So essentially, you'll be using it for that. So you're not only limited to the local market, but even within the local market, you have a wider access because of the convenience, but also you're open now to the international market to drive sales. So with the options that we do have at RBC, I cannot see a disadvantage, to be honest. There are low cost options, and there are also options that you may be able to temporarily suspend until you're back on your feet again.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's go to the question from Earl and then Cynthia.
Right. Earl, okay. Okay, so Earl, I believe the question is,
what are SMB merchants' PCI compliance responsibilities?
okay, thank you very much. All right, so in terms of the PCI compliance, a lot of that is really governed by the gateway that you're using to facilitate the e-commerce payments hitting through, whether it's through the website or through the payment links or what's not. So we ensure primarily and upfront that the gateways are compliant, they don't store information, a rigorous check and let's say procedures would have been done by our product team to ensure that the gateways themselves are pretty much secure. When it comes to the RBC side, we also make sure that our systems are secure in terms of how we process that information and how we apply that information in terms of settlement to the merchant. As it is, even with the small businesses, let's say you're using the link option, there is a lot of that is basically taken away from you, whether you're using the link or using the website. So very nominal responsibility, I would say at this stage, just to keep the answer short. I would say that obviously, as a business or a person taking in payment, you do automatically have a right to ensure, even with employees and other persons in your environment, that they don't have access to that card information, whether it's partial or not. That only persons who are only platforms or only that are needed for the payment, or even to have access to the customer information, that only those absolutely necessary for being yourself as a business owner or what's not, that you maintain that level of privacy. So from a privacy perspective, whether it's online or otherwise, you have at least a basic responsibility. But the bank covers a lot of the PCI compliance.
Okay. Let's go to Cynthia's question.
Cynthia.
But while we wait on Cynthia's question, I also saw a question about transaction limits, and there are no transaction limits with the solutions.
Okay. So I believe Cynthia's question pertains to the other gateway options. I think she mentioned PayPal, she mentioned Stripe, and on the bank's openness to work with this platform, or I would say RBC's openness. Let's narrow it down a bit. So so a lot of let's say PayPal, which I touched on in the presentation, we already have viable alternatives to these options. As you may have encountered, some of the overseas-based options require you to set up an overseas account. You have cash flow issues in terms of remitting the payments, receiving the funds. So what we've done as a bank is to ensure that we partner with partners who have a fast turnaround time to make sure that your money is there when you need it. I would say even within 2 days, your money is there when it comes to e-commerce, within 1 day when it comes to the terminals. So our focus really is to bring the solutions that work well within the market, that are proven within the market to ensure that you have access to your monies, and we're tasked with that. So right now, where we're at. We're always looking to expand. But at this point, I wouldn't be aware of any expansion discussions for the two providers mentioned. But
Right.
we already have your
Adrian, can I also reporting?
Pardon me?
Can I ask you to also talk a little bit about the reporting that we get from the various solutions?
Yes, so in conjunction with our internal reporting, you're able to go in and track your sales immediately. So once the payment is received, there's a transaction area or there's a portal that you can see easily what was approved. And to support that, RBC has an internal reporting system, regardless of if you're e-commerce, regardless of what provider you use, or if you're using card machines, we have our own built-in option where you automatically receive a daily report that itemizes the card information, the amount, and everything you need to make sure that you're reconciling your payments.
Thanks, Adrian.
Okay, thank you very much. Looking across and checking to see if there are any additional questions or comments in the remaining 2 minutes that we have. I'm going to ask you please to complete the evaluation survey for us. This is a link that we'll place here now with the chat for you. We'll ask you to answer the questions. Just give us your thoughts, your feedback, because this helps us in evaluating our program and improving as we go along. For the benefit of Jimmy, I think it is, who queried Free Spirit's information, the data is there posted in the chat for you. You can revert there and see the information on Free Spirit. We're going to run those 2 ads again. But I want to give our colleagues, our members, an opportunity if there's a burning question that you need our team from RBC to address. Let's do so now in the remaining 60 seconds that we have. Crystal is asking colleagues, where can we go to see the different options and the representative fee structures, etc.
Okay, so the short and brief yes, I would say that we have our contact information up. We can share the contact information as well through the SB Association. You can reach out directly, you can put your information in the chat. We will have a representative contact you and have a discussion pertaining to your business needs. A lot of our advantage is really that one-on-one interaction. So it's best that we're able to have a direct conversation to point you in the correct direction.
Right. So Adrian, I'll ask if you can, while we're here, place in the chat a number, an email that you would want members who are interested to reach out to, and then you can maybe assign them to individual persons for follow-up. So if you can at least give us that general contact information, place it in the chat here for us. We can access that. Kristen has already provided some information from Vision One Financial Consulting. Jermaine Brathwaite as well has included some information there. We'll ask you please to go to the chat feature and copy the information that is provided. But let us now get the ad from our members while we look to bring our session to a close today. So let's hear again from Free Spirit and Peter Pan on the various service offerings that they have. Shimon and team, please, you'll see that several firms are placing information in the chat that they want for your team to follow up at the end of the exercise. Let's get our ads now, and we'll close out our session thereafter.
Look at this. Oh, perfect. Oh my God. Isn't it great? Chris! I know, it's my dream. I have goosebumps everywhere. This is out of this world.
Peter Pan, Peter Pan, Peter Pan. Just for you and Peter Pan. Peter Pan, Peter Pan, Peter Pan. Enjoy life and Peter Pan. soup, pastas, platters, Korean wings. Peter Pan for your favorite things. Located Material Things Complex, Worthing, Christchurch. Call 228-2300 or 230-5880 for deliveries or to order. Peter Pan Grill, a great delight, a bit of love in every bite.
All right. So you've seen again there from our members, Peter Pan and Free Spirit. And if you missed the information, the contact details have been posted for you in the chat that you can download for your follow-up. So we want at this time to conclude our webinar today, the month of May, and by thanking our special guest, Mr. McIntosh, Shimon McIntosh, the Managing Director and Area Vice President for Royal Bank, RBC Royal Bank, as well as Adrian Payne, Business Electronic Sales Specialist. We thank you for coming and sharing with us. And clearly from the feedback I'm seeing in the chat, we have several members who want to have that follow-up conversation that, they can access the service offerings being provided. As we said at the beginning, we'll close with this thought that e-commerce is here. This is the digital age that we're in, and it is incumbent on all of us, if we're going to stay in business, if we're going to be competitive in business, to adopt an appropriate platform and adopt an appropriate mechanism that we can use to make sure that we can reach our customers, we can do business using the digital means. So RBC has shared with us today that they have a very competitive product, user-friendly, easily accessible, and they want for you, our members and friends and colleagues, to consider and to make that connection with the bank. Shimon, I'm going to give you an opportunity for any closing comments that you may have as we bring our session to a close today.
Dr. Will, I'll just be very brief. I just want to thank you again and the Small Business Association for the opportunity to engage with your members. I've placed the email addresses for Adrian and Jimin in the chat. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to them directly or to myself. And we look forward to discussing your e-commerce and merchant needs with you. And I wish everyone a good day and thank you for joining and for your questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to the team there at RBC Royal Bank. Colleagues, I thank you as well for spending an hour of your day with us, sharing in this session. And remember, as I said at the beginning, in the event that you miss any aspect of it, the session was recorded, and we'll be able to tidy up and edit in another few hours, and the session will be placed on our YouTube channel, our website, that you can go and you can watch again in the event that you miss any aspect of it. So fear not, the information will be there provided for you. I want to thank you again for your continued support of these webinars. We have our next session in the month of June. June, as you know, members of the association, is the end of our financial year. So in this last session, we really, want to stretch the imagination, if you will, and bring a very innovative type session to you. We're working on that now, so stay tuned for the date and time in the month of June when we again come on this platform, our Zoom platform, with another informational session. So again, thank you. Please remember to complete that feedback survey that has been provided. The link is there in the chat. Stay on for another 2-3 minutes and complete the exercise so that we can get your thoughts, we can get your comments on today's session. All of the information for the RBC team has been provided in the chat. Please follow up with them. They're there to answer any queries, provide additional information that you may need, and overall ensure that you can access the digital solutions, that you can do better business, because this is what it's all about at the end of the day. God bless you all. See you on the next occasion. Bye-bye for now. Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.